Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is AudreySA.2310733014-Socioling, and today's topics 3. It's include like a 6 learning focus. So we go straight to the first learning focus. First is about language, dialects, and vernacular. So the language is the way how we use language in everyday life. So language is not only a linguistic system but also a social and a political ideal. It's mean like linguistically, it's often difficult to clearly separate a language from a dialect because we are using our language because we are using our dialect and accents to talk in everyday life or having a communications with someone. So the language are built from the political power, national identity, and the social status. So from that language, we know that language, because they belong to the different nations, they show that distinctions between it, or there is a gap between per language per nations, and it's purely linguistic, but it's strongly social because language is both linguistic systems and a social construct. We know that language is built from the social structure that people usually use in everyday lives, like how we communicate with each other, or when we go to other nations or we go to another province, we are using our language or our self-language. We know that sometimes peoples in different province will using another language and their accents in their own dialect. We know that because it's built from the social structure for that. And then next it's about dialect. Dialect is like a variety of language that used by a particular groups of speaker. It means like in one nations or in one province, we are using a dialect. So if we live in Minang, we use like Minang dialect or like using Minang accents. We know how to differentiate between how people in Sumatra talk and how people in Java talk. We know how to differentiate that, right? And then we see that from here that a variety of dialects is based on the regions and then based on the social groups, like how they are using their own language. We know that dialect also differs in their pronunciations, grammaticals, and vocabulary, because if we say bad words in Java, I think it's not really bad in Sumatra because they are using different structures of how they are using language, how their heritage using or making their own words, like that. And then most importantly, dialects, it's also systematic and rule governed. So this means that they follow grammatical patterns, or they're also not random because they're using the legal society. So even it's not a non-standard dialects, we know that they have a consistency of a grammaticals. And then we go next to about the vernacular. So we see that the vernacular is the one of the varieties of language that people are usually use in everyday life. So like in informal situations. So it usually most natural things that way of our speaking. So social linguistics say that especially is interest in vernacular speech because of it reflects more the true grammaticals. Because if you're using a formal if you're using an informal text or informal the way we speak, we see that the differentiate between that how we use language in everyday life. So we know that is really different from others, I think, because we know that if we are talking in informal situations, we see that we have a different types of the way we speak to each other. And then there are also mutuals intelligibility, and then we know that mutual intelligibility refer to whether the speaker of two varieties can understand each other's without special effort. So traditionally, if speakers understand each other, we consider that the dialects and the accents are the same language. So if I talk with my friend from Jakarta, we know that we understand each other because we are from the same region. So I think it's differentiate between each other, because if they are not understand what we are talking about, so we have a different region first, we have a different dialect first, and then we have a different accents. So I have an experience that my friends from Minang, they first time we met, they don't want to open herself because she embarrassed that she has a Minang dialect or Minang accents, because that she used Indonesian's language for us. Actually, it's hard for her. She said to me that it's the first time it's hard to say in Indonesia because they are having a habit that using Minang in school, in home, in house, like with her family or something like that. And then there's a standard language and non-standard language variation. So standard language, we know that is legal from government, is the variety that has been selected and has been data in the official use, like in educations, government, media, formal writing, or something else like that. It's really having a standard. Or in examples, like if we are having a new words, we sometimes include in new how do I say dictionary, we include in dictionaries or in the grammar tools, like it's really officials. And then we know that if it refers to non-standard variations, we know that they're all language are not selected as the official standard because they're often stigmatized like incorrect things, or the language is not legal yet, so we cannot use that or something like that. So this variety have a systematic grammar to be illegal things, or they are having a following grammar things. So in accents or recessive pronouns, we say that accents are really different from dialect, because an accent is referred to the only difference in pronunciations, like how we talk like this. Or in English, we say in Australia we use like a British thing, and then if in Indonesia or in Asia, we see the different accents, like how this tone or how the tone people talk, like it's based on the region, social group, or something like that. And then there's also recessive pronunciations. We say that it's like a particular British accents that historically associate with something like educational, sport, or higher social class. Like if we say something new, we see that they are having a different things, but we don't know how to say that. I mean, like if people using their language based on like the educational or the BBC things, we see the difference from all of that. So RP is become a standard accent because of its social association with power and authority of government. And I think that's it from my reading report for this topic. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.